Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and I'm going to posit that Dungeons and Dragons is a divining rod to determine individuals who fit the great man theory. All right? It is a divining rod to find great man theory individuals, right? Now, why am I using that term? So let me define my terms, right? So first of all, the great man theory. I have 2 degrees. I have a degree from Miller's University in political science, and I learned about the great man theory when I studied politics for my bachelor's. I have a bachelor's in political science, and I learned about the great man theory in 1988 to 1992 when I was studying there, and I also have a master. I have an MBA, so I have a master's degree in technology management from University of Phoenix. All right, which I got between 2001 and 2005. Okay, and I learned even more about the great man theory there. But I was recently reminded of it. I was watching Bill Maher. His show has become pretty incredible. Bill Maher is not who he used to be. He's got some great shows going on. He's really smart, and I think he's become quite conservative. So if you're not watching Bill Maher, he has this little segment called Overtime. It's totally worth watching. He's got a lot of great thinkers on there. And so he was talking about the great man theory and the idea that leaders are not made, they are born, right? And they have 4 fundamental attributes, which is, listen to this, listen to what they are. Watch this. They are charismatic, confident, intelligent, and social, right? Now, actually, I think we could take that social one and throw it out, right? You could just throw that out. And the reason why is if you're charismatic and confident, what do you think you use those for? You use them to be social. So the social one, so basically, listen to this. Literally the attributes of the great man theory leader, the born leader, are literally what I've been saying for like 5 years that is required to be a dungeon master. You need to be charismatic, confident, and intelligent. You can go back for the next you can go back over the last 2,000 videos I've done, and you'll hear that 100 times, no less, maybe 300 times, right? And so the reality is, so here's the question: are great leaders born? So first of all, let's deal with the great man theory problem. So the great man theory came out in 1840, and there was a gentleman by the name of Thomas Carlyle who brought the theory forward. So he said great man because back then leadership was incredibly gendered. When we say great man theory today, what I'm talking about is individuals, right? It doesn't need to be a man. In fact, I don't even think it needs to be human, right? So I support born creators, you and me, and I support made creators, ChatGPT, Google's Bard, broad language platforms. I support AI. I'm not some person. I'm not one of those Star Trek villains who's like, data isn't self-aware, right? Like, I support made artists, and I support born artists, right? And so the great man theory, I think, includes men. Today, we can understand that's including men, including women, and including AI, who are the first true non-binaries, right? All right, so yeah, I'll posit that. We could debate it, right? I think that is correct, right? And actually, hey, so by supporting AI, you're supporting non-binary definition, right? AIs aren't gendered, right? They're our first non-binary. They're really, it's arguable they're the first true non-binary creators, right? Non-binary made creators. Kind of interesting, right? All right. So here we go. Okay. So what is Dungeons and Dragons? Well, here's the problem, right? So when we actually talked about when we talked about what is happening with when we actually talk about these great leaders, right, who are born, the problem with when Thomas Carlyle said it was, where were they going to find these born leaders, right? Well, they're going to find them from the Ivies, and they're going to find them from the they're going to find them from the Ivy Leagues, and they're going to pull them out of, the privileged arenas, right? But that's the power of Dungeons & Dragons. So Gary Gygax, he made Dungeons & Dragons. Dungeons & Dragons very naturally has the ability to pull out people who are charismatic, confident, and intelligent. And the reason why is you cannot be a dungeon master if you are not 100% charismatic, confident, and intelligent. Why do I say that? Well, it's very clear, right? If you're not charismatic, nobody's going to stay at your table. If you're not confident, you're not going to be able to public speak. And dungeon mastering is nothing but public speaking, right? And if you're not intelligent, there's no possibility you're going to have the wherewithal for the 8,000 pages of canon that are in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition alone, right? So it's a natural filter. It is a divining rod to find born leaders. But what's important is, unlike Thomas Carlyle, who's like, oh, we're going to find them in these institutions that only white people can, that conveniently, pretty much only white men can get into. Dungeons & Dragons, if you can afford a red box, right, and that red box has been available all the way through, right, and you could buy the red box today, right, for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, if you have $30, you can show the world that you are a born natural leader, right? And so I think Dungeons & Dragons is the greatest divining rod to find great man theory individuals today. And it's not privileged. It's not infused with wealth class. It's not infused with gender, and unlike all the things before that pointed to these great man theory individuals, this is fair and open and accessible to everybody, right? It doesn't matter if you're LGBTQ, doesn't matter if you're straight, doesn't matter if you're man, doesn't matter if you're woman, doesn't matter if you're black, doesn't matter if you're white. Do you got $30 for the red box? Show the world you're a born leader. Can you create worlds? Can you draw people to those worlds and run these stories and use those stories and improve people? Dungeons & Dragons is the greatest divining rod to identify fairly, more than any other medium we've ever had, great man theory individuals, in my humble opinion. Every single word of that is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.